What's up, guys? Thomas here, coming back to you with another video. Check it out. This is what I've been working on. Backyard mini ramp. Boom. Every skater dreams of having a mini ramp in their backyard, and I finally finished mine. It took me 5 months. So if you guys don't have time, you know what? Slowly but surely, guys. This thing took me 5 months. 2x4s, plywood, skate light. So what are the overall dimensions of this ramp? This ramp is 2.5 feet from the flats, 12 feet wide, and it has a mellow 7-foot transition. So the goal of this ramp was to make a pretty chill ramp that I can progress on and learn on without, being scared and breaking my neck and all that stuff. I'm sure I will bust my ass a couple times on this thing anyways. But yeah, this is it. This is my mini ramp. So, what was the estimated cost of this mini ramp? I'd like to say that this mini ramp was probably in the $3,000 range. Um, a bulk of that cost was the skate light. I saved money there because I bought the skate light secondhand. So instead of it being 4x8 sheets, it's an inch short on length and widths. So you got to adjust for that. So if you're building your mini ramp and you plan on using the secondhand skate light, design your mini ramp in those dimensions because I'll show you in a little bit, but what I had to do is actually put like a 2-inch strip on the end because it was shorter than the 12-foot dimension I have here. So yeah, a bulk of that cost was this skate light. This skate light for 10 sheets, I think I got 10 or 12 sheets, was about $1,200, and that's about $95 a sheet. And then it's like $400 shipping plus tax and all that other stuff. But if you were to buy like the 4x8 sheets of skate light, that stuff is like $180 a sheet. So it almost would have doubled the cost. But overall, building your own ramp using skate light is probably will be half the cost if you were to order an OC ramp or one of those prefab ramps with skate lights. So just keep that in mind. Stainless screws on top, man, I had to buy stainless screws. It was like almost $30 a box, and I probably used about 3.5 boxes. That's just for installing the skate light on the ramp and on the decks. The rest of the ramp I used decking screws. But yeah, overall cost around $3,000. That spread out over 5 months. I mean, at sometimes I was just going to the hardware store and buying four pieces of four 2x4s and five or whatever I could fit in the cart at the time. So I didn't buy all this stuff at once. It was like one week I would go buy a couple 2x4s and do that part. One week I would go buy some plywood, 3 or 4 sheets, and just do that part. So yeah, I spread it out over 8 months. Not 8 months, sorry, about 5 months. And yeah, this is what we got, this mini ramp. So yeah, look forward to making more videos of me skating this thing, busting my ass, learning new tricks. Here we go. So check it out, guys. Right here, I want to focus on, the coping section right here. Man, I measured and planned and did all types of crap. And even after I did all that, when I installed everything, the coping reveal was a little off. Right now, it's at 3/8, so it's kind of perfect. So boom, I got the coping at a local metal place, and for two 12-foot long, I guess 2-inch OD pipes, steel pipe, cost me about 80 bucks. And then you see this metal part right here. So what happened here? And the reason why this is here is because when I initially cut the skate light, it was about to right here, right? It was at a good spacing between the coping and the skate light. And what happened is when I had to adjust this coping, it actually went back and it left like almost a half-inch gap. So I was either gonna cut a strip lower down and fill this in with skate light, but I went back to the metal place and I was able to get this 1/4 inch, 2.5 inch wide steel I guess sheet or whatever you want to call it, and I was able to cut this strip here, space it out, and that's why this black metal piece is here. It's just because I didn't want to cut new sheets of skate light and waste those sheets that I could potentially use for something else. So I bought two more of these guys, and these cost me around the same price, around 80 bucks for two of these. And what I did is I drilled some holes in there, countersunk them, and boom, attach them to the ramp. So now there's a nice little gap there. So, you know, when you roll up, you're not hitting a big, you know, a big chunk right there. And I did notice a difference. I tried skating it to see if I would notice anything, because there was like a ½ inch gap there. And once I put this on, it was night and day. It didn't feel like you were going clunk. It felt like a smoother transition to the coping. So yeah, that's a little detail right there I just kind of wanted to highlight on. So right here, I kind of wanted to show you guys that strip I had to put on the edge. As you can see, it goes all the way to the top, and I pretty much ran that strip across the whole length of the ramp. And that was because the secondhand cut skate light aren't true 4x8 sheets. So when I stacked up 3 of them, I essentially had to put, you know, a strip at the end to make up for it. It's the last 2 inches of the ramp, right? So if you're skating this ramp and you're hitting that edge, I mean, I think it'll last pretty good. It's pretty sturdy. I don't think we'll have any issues with that. So yeah, doesn't really make a big difference there. And if you guys are interested in the screw patterns, man, the birds are going off right now. But anyways, here's the screw pattern. So what I did is, because these were shorter, instead of doing it 12 on inches, I did it like, you know, it was 11.5 or something like that, which worked out. Because I will say, guys, when you're putting a ramp together, like, take notes of how the screws below this surface are. Because if you're putting everything, luckily these sheets were shorter, so it's kind of offset everything. So I didn't run into a lot of issues of, you know, screwing into screws that were below it. I did have some places, like some instances, like right here, where, you know, the screws were right beneath, but I mean, I lucked out because I didn't take notes of that, and I was able to screw down pretty much 90% of these screws without any issues. And let me just go and show you, like, you know, if I kind of ran into a screw below, essentially what I did is I just moved it over about, you know, 1/4 inch, and boom, put a new hole in there. And as you can see, here's another spot right here where that kind of happened up this transition size of the edge. But yeah, so what I did is I went and bought some epoxy, and I filled those holes with epoxy right there. So these are filled. I kind of like how that came out. So what I'll probably do is buy some more epoxy so I can fill in the rest of these holes. But yeah, guys, when you're putting your ramp together, make sure you annotate where all the screws are below. So my advice to you guys would be is if you want your skate light to look nice and you want all that 12 inches on center, and, you know, like right here going this way, it's all on the 8-inch with the studs, I would say the plies underneath, like, set those off like 1 inch, 2 inch, or give them some sort of offset, so you know when you go with this top ply and this top set of sheets, you want it to look nice. Make sure the bottom ones are kind of offset so they don't, you know, you're not screwing on top of other screws. And to get a little nerdy on you guys, how did this tie into 3D printing? Well, my channel isn't specifically just 3D printing, it's just videos of me making stuff or just doing things. But 3D printing did help me out with building this ramp. First, I want to show you this little jig I made right here. See this jig right here? This is a little 2x4 jig. As you can see, there's holes screwed right there. It's on center with the 2x4. And how I use this is when I marked everything on 8s, I could go here, zip, zip, drill 2 holes. Move it down, zip, zip, drill 2 holes. So I made this little jig for, you know, being able to center 2x4s onto the whole ramp as I went down every 8 inches. To space the skate light, I made these little spacers. These are 3mm spacers. I made this on my 3D printer, of course, and I was using this to space things out, because you want your ramp to be able, you want the skate light to be able to expand and contract, so you don't want them touching each other. So I created these little spacers. I had a whole bunch of them, and I would just line them up in between sheets and, you know, put the sheets down. And then the other kind of things I did was I created this little spacer right here, And this is how I kind of tested whether I had a 3/8 reveal. This is actually 3/8. Then if I go like this and I set my square down, it's like boom, perfect. It's perfect on that. It's nice and level. And this is how I kind of tested how this reveal would work. As you can see, there's this other block. This is a 1-inch block. So when you put 3/8, 3/8 and a 1/4 inch of sheet of skate light, it'll make a 1 inch. So when you don't have anything there, you take the 1-inch block and you set it down, and that's how it tells you you pretty much get the 3/8 reveal. And that's also how I measured the top deck using, so this is actually not 1 inch, this is 1 inch plus 3/8. So if I were to put it down where it's supposed to be, it would make a perfect thing. And that's how I kind of figured out, you know, when I was dialing this in. And how did I dial in my coping? Well, let me zoom in on here and show you guys some other things I did. So if you look right there at the coping, you'll see that there's a shim. And I 3D printed that shim. So in order to get this perfect 3/8 reveal, I had this distance cut, but this part was off. So for every part, there's a rib. I was able to 3D print a shim to the exact specifications I needed for this part. So what I did is I would go and I'd print this one, and I knew this one had to be, you know, 1/8 of an inch, and another one needed to be a 1/4 inch. So what I did is I kind of just made, you know, an 1/8 inch shim, a 1/4 inch shim, and I, like, with my measurements, I'd know, and then I'd go back to Fusion and I would just create these little shims, print them out, and boom, stuck them under the coping, and that's how I got that perfect 3/8 coping reveal. Well, guys, this is my mini ramp. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully I'll be posting a bunch of videos of me skating this thing, busting my ass, slamming, learning, because that's the main point of this, is so I can learn and progress. So I'll probably make another video on that stuff later. But yeah, guys, here's my mini ramp. She doesn't have a name yet. She has to be named. I don't know. We'll think about it. Well, guys, that's all I have for today's video. Like always, peace.